Okay, Jason, our second topic of today's Juneteenth show. Can Evan Mobley become the Cavaliers' best player? Can he become the offensive force you and I both believe he needs to for this team to take the next level if he's playing alongside two ball-dominant guards in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland? I have some very strong thoughts on this, but I want to start with you first.
Yeah, he can become number one. Now, I think it is a valid argument to make that having two ball dominant guards takes the oxygen away from Evan. I think that's a valid concern to have. I don't think I would not dismiss that at all. I guess my counter to that would be, if these guys are as good as you think they are, they can find a way to get him the ball and get him incorporated in the offense and give him opportunities to create just as well as them. It's a luxury to have three guys who can dribble, pass, and shoot. I think Evans has worked his way into that conversation as one of those guys who can dribble, pass, and shoot. So you want to take full advantage of it. I think it does more harm to your team to remove, and let's pretend that the toe surgery never happened, right? And they're going to trade Darius. I think it does more harm to your team to remove that, to give him room to flourish, when the real luxury is having three guys who can do it. So why would you cut off one leg to replace it with another, if that makes sense? I think the thing for Kenny Atkinson to do, nobody can deny, even the strongest Evan Mobley haters, nobody can deny he took a massive leap this year in the first year of Kenny's system. So now it becomes, okay, well, now how can we get the ball in his hands even more? How can we increase that usage rate? If that means, Darius, you have to take a step back, that's not a bad thing, I don't think. Donovan has already sort of acquiesced, and he could probably continue to do so a little bit more. I think you can continue to grow that role with Evan, but it's on those guys to do it. And I'll go back. I don't mean to keep talking about the 2014, 15, 16, 17 teams, but those were really good teams that figured out how to win at a high level. And I remember when Ty came in, he basically told Kyrie, you go last. Like, Kevin eats first. You've got to feed him the ball. You've got to get Kevin the ball. And LeBron can eat whenever LeBron wants to eat. And then Kyrie, you figure it out from there. But you've got to get these other guys involved first. And that was coming off a game where Kyrie didn't have any assists in Utah. It was a huge deal at the time. He had like 30-something points, I think it was, and 0 assists. And Ty told him, like, it is on you to get these other guys involved. Now, Kevin was not, I don't believe, as skilled as Evan is in terms of ball handling and everything else. Kevin was really reliant on the backcourt to sort of feed him and to set him up. Whereas I think Evan can create on his own and facilitate for others at a much higher level. But the point still remains. You have to get that point driven home, I believe, to the guards, the backcourt, of this is how we're going to play. We are at our best when Evan is leading it. And it will be an adjustment for everybody, but this is for the greater good. This is the best way forward for us to play. So I don't think you remove a guy to do that. I think they just have to adjust their style of play. And I think that's a lot easier than removing one of the legs of a tripod, is just adjusting the length of one of the legs.
I agree with a lot of what you said. My first and foremost thought on this is the Cavs don't need Evan to be their best offensive player. They need him to be their best overall player. Donovan can still be the leading scorer, and Evan can still take that next step forward, and the Cavs be good enough to win a championship. I want to see Evan average 22 to 23, 24 points per game next year. It's about a 6-point increase, 2 or 3 more made buckets than he did this year. It doesn't mean Donovan's scoring is going to go down to 21. Like, Donovan's still going to score his 25, 26 points a game. But you need to get Evan Mobley more involved in the offense. Early, the better, but don't go to him early and then forget about him late in the game, like we saw in Game 5 against Indiana, like we saw in that first loss of the season to Boston. Get him going early and then play through him throughout the rest of the game. Evan's not just a scorer. He doesn't need to be just a scorer. I think he's an advanced passer for a big man at this stage of his career. I think he's comfortable enough with the ball in his hands to make plays as the driving force and decision maker, Jason, which he wasn't ready to do earlier in his career. I think that was one of the big areas. Kenny Atkinson and Jordan Ott deserves a ton of credit for being kind of the primary point guy on Evan's development this summer, was making him more confident in those decision-making situations. And he got significantly better. I'll go back to the postseason series against Boston last year when he was playing the 5 after Donovan got hurt in game 5 when he had that monster performance that got us all excited about Evan for this previous season. Why did we get so excited? Because they played through him at the high post, allowed him to be the fulcrum of the offense, and everything looked good because he was spread around with 4 shooters. He was able to pick and choose his matchups. He was able to attack. He was able to pass. Evan can absolutely develop into the offensive player that Cavs need with Donovan and Darius in the backcourt. Why? Because that's the history of the NBA, has shown us that big men, and Evan is a little bit of not a traditional big man, but still a big man, can dominate when they don't bring the ball up the court. Jokic is the exception. He's not Jokic. He never will be Jokic. But he's somewhere in between Giannis and Embiid in terms of where he needs the ball to be at his best, right? Like Giannis can take guys off the dribble from the 3-point line, not much of a shooter. Embiid likes to catch it in the high post and operate from there. He's not Giannis and he's not Embiid when Embiid's healthy. I'm not saying he's that level of player, but I'm saying stylistically speaking, it's somewhere between those two. And it goes all back to this. At the end of the day, Jason, it's on the other 4 guys on the court to get Evan the ball. If they run some sort of pick and roll action and a little switches on to Evan Mobley and a big switches on to Donovan, I don't care if it's game 1, if it's game 7, if it's game 25. In the regular season, anytime a guard switches on Mobley, I want mouse in the house. Throw it down low, let him work. I'm dead serious because the Cavs don't have to win 64 games next year. If they win 53 and make the playoffs, so be it. It's all about getting Evan and getting Donovan and getting Darius in the best position for postseason success. And what puts them in that best position is making Evan Mobley as comfortable as possible at every spot on that court to attack mismatches. Evan is the Cavs mismatch, by the way. It's not Donovan. It's not Darius. It's not Jared. It's DeAndre in certain situations. It's Evan. He's quicker than most bigs, and he's too big for most wings. Like, that is your mismatch. Use that to your advantage. If they switch, mouse in the house, feed him in the post. If you got a slow big on him, ISO, let him go. Let him work one-on-one. Let him use those moves. As someone who played Division III basketball, which is not the NBA, but you had to work on a lot of stuff in D3, and I wasn't smart enough or good enough to do it. I had 3 moves. Why? Because I wasn't confident enough to try the other 17 that I thought I could do in an actual game situation. I could do it in practice, but you put me in a game, I was going back to the 2 or 3 I know I could execute. And by the time I graduated, the scouting report was out. That's why I turned into a 3-point shooter. I couldn't get past people. The scouting report was out there. Evan has more opportunities. You got to do it in a game to get that confidence. And It comes down to Darius, and it comes down to Donovan, and it comes down to the coaches to make a concerted effort to get Evan the ball. Yes, he needs to be more assertive. It's 100% that part of it is true. He needs to be more assertive. But everyone else has to make a concerted effort to get him the rock too, Jason. They go hand in hand.
All right, I want to take just a second here.
I said a lot. I think I just talked for 4 minutes straight. I'm sorry.
No. You're fine. I don't know where the yelling at Bull fits in, but this feels like a good spot to yell at Bull.
Perfect.
And I'm going to yell at Bull. We're recording this Tuesday. I'm going to yell at Bull Wednesday. So some of this may be redundant if you saw UCSS on Wednesday, because I'm going to yell at Bull on Wednesday.
I'm going to make you full screen here, Jason. You ready? We'll cut a short out of this. I'm going to drop my.
Well, here's the thing about, I saw a clip of Bull on the show today talking about you and I, our obsession with Evan Mobley and how it pisses him off. The thing about it is, I am not obsessed with Evan Mobley. It's just Bull keeps crapping on him and saying that he's not a good player, and I have to keep correcting him and going, no, Adam, he's actually really good. So now it has become this obsession. Adam, I'm not obsessed with Evan Mobley. I tend to think he's a pretty good player, and the numbers back that up, and the accolades he's gotten tend to back that up. But the fact that you keep killing him and trying to degrade what he is and dismissing everything that he can do forces me to then come to his defense so that I am obsessed with him. Do I think he can be the best player on the team? Yeah, I think he can be the best player on the team. As soon as next year, I think he better be the best player on the team next year, or it probably will end the same as this season ended. So they have to continue to grow him. I am not obsessed with him. I just think he's a pretty doggone good player, and you keep killing him. If you would stop killing him, I would stop defending him. Ran over. I'm not as good at it as Bull is, but I just laughed when I saw today that you and I are obsessed with Evan. I'm like, no, I'm not obsessed with him. You just keep killing him, and we have to keep correcting you.
Yeah, it's an unhealthy obsession by Bull. And I love Bull. He's lost in the soup on this one. He tried telling me Tyrese Halliburton's a better player than Evan Mobley. Halliburton's on an incredible heater. He's not a better player than Evan Mobley right now. I saw you I texted you, it's recency bias. He's not a better player.
Yeah. And we might as well segue right into, we use that, unless you have anything else to say, because that's a perfect segue into the wild.
I do have one last thing to say.
Go ahead.
On Evan Mobley. Because I told this to Bull after the show, and I should have said it on air. He's 23 years old, has won Defensive Player of the Year, made an All-NBA defensive first team, and has made an All-NBA second team now. Like, he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Like, is he a superstar? No. Is he a damn good player with an incredibly bright future? Yeah. So we'll leave it at that.